Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for another video. And today we are going to be talking about pitching your product to an actual production company. So how to pitch your product to a production company. So let's say that you and I've done a few different videos about this sort of thing, but we're going to look at a real world live example today. So this video is for anybody who wants to be a creator in Magic. This video is for anybody who wants to actually bring their own tricks to market and wants to work with a production company, whether that production company be the 1914, Alakazam Magic, Penguin Magic, Murphy's Magic, whatever it is. This video is for you. Now let me explain what we're going to do here. I am going to show you a couple of my tricks, a couple of products that I've had come out over the last year, and I'm going to show you my original pitch. Because the thing is, I've done videos before where I've talked about how to pitch products to production companies and what you should say and how long you should make them last and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, it would be better if you saw a real world example. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I've got a few more of these. So I'm going to do this specifically for Penguin Magic. But if you would like to see another one of these for a different production company, please let me know. The other thing that I'll say is I've got a really great relationship with Penguin Magic. So when I send them a video, I'm very conversational with it because I know all the people at Penguin Magic. I've got a relationship with them. You might want to change that a little bit if you don't know the guys at a production company you're pitching and you're going there cold for the first time. But I thought it'd be really interesting to take two of my projects, talk about what the projects are, and talk about kind of the process I went through to pitch that product to the production company. And we'll talk about two completely different examples, okay? So with that in mind, the first thing we're going to be looking at is the Magic Button project. And the Magic Button project came out earlier this year, but I filmed it probably maybe March 2023. So I must have pitched this possibly in 2022, maybe late 2022, maybe mid 2022. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll start with that one. So if you don't know what the Magic Button project is, let's have a look at the trailer first of all, so you can see exactly what the Magic Button project ended up being, and then we'll come back into the studio and I'll talk about how I pitched it.
My name's Craig Petty. I want you to do me a favor. Check out these reactions. So what was that? This is the Magic Button project. I want you to imagine something for a minute. Imagine that you're going to tell the spectators, they're going to tell the audience that you're going to let them in on a secret. How magic's done. It's done with a magic button. You take out a card, it's got a big red button on it, it says Magic Button. You put that on the table and you do not touch it. Then somebody picks a card and they sign the card, making it unique. The card's put back in the deck, the spectator shuffles, and at that point, with no moves whatsoever, the spectator can take that Magic Button card, they turn it over, and it's actually their signed card.
Hold it face down, shove it in the middle. This time it's going to go to the bottom. Okay. Emily, press the button. Harder, Emily. Harder, Emily. No, really smack that thing. No. Too hard. You know what happens if she pushes it that hard?
What?
You have any idea? You got no idea?
You got to pick somebody else. He messed up.
No, Emily. You're not going to believe this. Look at the other side of the card.
Look at it. It's still...
Push it in the pack anywhere you want it yourself. Now, I've told you, it came to the top, it changed. This time it's going to go to the bottom. All right? If it goes to the bottom, you guys are going to go crazy. You ready? Yeah. Press the button, man. Hang on. A little bit harder. A little bit harder. Press really hard. Dude, what was your name?
Sean.
That's too hard. You know why? It'll break the button. Do you know what happens when you break the button? Turn it over.
I'm scared.
Stop it.
Come on!
Good job. Good job.
Close-up magic does not get any stronger than this, and leave your audience with an incredible souvenir that they will remember forever. Now, the Magic Button project comes with an entire gaff deck full of a ton of different cards that you can combine together to perform absolute miracles with tons of different effects. So no matter what type of performer you are, there's something for everybody. And we've included an absolute ton of reveal cards, which means that you can do this over and over again. If you want to have incredible, insane reactions when you perform close-up magic, if you want to do something that people will remember forever, if you want to have a moment in your act that people will be talking about forever, then you want to pick up the Magic Button project. I'm telling you right now, it's a killer.
Now, the Magic Button project has been, it got released, I think, February this year, and it's sold literally thousands of units. It's become one of my best-selling tricks. And I'd been working on this concept. I think I sent this video over to Penguin end of 2022, I think, something like that, maybe middle of 2022. But I'd been working on similar concepts for this for a very long time. But this was kind of the first time I vocalized exactly how I envisaged this project to be. Now, anybody who's got them, in a second, you're going to see the actual pitch that I sent to Penguin. Before I show you that pitch, I want you to understand a few things. So first of all, you'll see, anybody who's got the Magic Button project will know that I talk about two different tricks here in this pitch video. Both of those tricks never actually made the final project. There was a variation of one, but the main routine that everybody kind of knows as the main routine for the Magic Button project, that wasn't in place at this point. What I was pitching to them here was a concept. It was the concept of, you have a card on the table with a button on it, somebody else picks a card, and that card ends up being the button. But the way that it was structured in the trailer, the way that it was structured in performance, was not actually ironed out at this point. Now, that came shortly after this video. So you're going to see the pitch video. This was actually filmed by Nemid Phoenix in a hotel room. We'd gone away for a few days to a gig. I think we were staying there for a couple of nights. And Penguin had been asking, I told Penguin about this thing, and they were like, "Oh, send us a video. It sounds amazing." So they were kind of really wanting this video, so I just shot it in the hotel room, and I got Nemid to hold the camera for me so that I could just basically show them the basic concept. And that's the important thing about pitching a product to a company sometimes. You want them to understand the basic concept. It doesn't even need to be a fully fleshed out project. It doesn't even need to be a fully fleshed out kind of thing, as long as you've got the premise in place. So in this case, the premise is, there is a button on the table. There is a card with a button on the table. They press the button and magic is happening. And it ends up being the button. The card that they've signed ends up being the button. Now, if you look at the pitch video, you'll see that the way that I actually got to that point is very convoluted. You'll also see I talk about the triumph, which did make the project. But the way that I actually get to that point in this video is very, very convoluted. And it was only, I think, shortly afterwards, I started making this up. So just after I sent them the video, probably about a month afterwards, I made my own Magic Button cards. Because what happened is I sent them the video and they said yes to this, but it took months for the prototypes to be made. So while I was waiting, I wanted to work on the routines. So I made my own Magic Button cards. I put a little red circle. I got stickers, little red stickers, and I put them in the center of the cards, and I wrote Magic Button, and I made a whole bunch of those. And I was actually using those cards to work in the routines before I actually got the prototype from Penguin Magic. And that was shortly after. It was about a month after sending this pitch video. Now, it was about a month afterwards. And I couldn't find that video, unfortunately. I was trying to send you, I sent them another video with little red buttons on, and I couldn't find that. But I've got this one. And what I want you to see from this video is I'm just it's very short, it's only 10 minutes long, and I'm basically explaining what the concept is. And that's the important thing about when you're doing a pitch to a company. You don't need a live performance. The company that are looking at your videos, they don't need people screaming and running down the streets. You're not producing a Hollywood trailer. What you are doing is you're sending them a video talking about what the trick is, what the gimmick is, what the handling is, or the idea behind the handling, and how it would effectively work. And the reason is they need to make a decision based on the information that they're getting sent by you, whether this is a commercially viable project. And they're going to be basing it on a whole bunch of different stuff. They're going to be basing it on the cost it's going to cost to produce. So you need to be very open and say, right, this is what you're going to need with this. They're going to base it on how difficult it is, because generally as a rule, the more difficult the project, the less people that are going to buy it, unless you're somebody like a Danny D. Ortiz, who people buy his stuff and it's marketed as being very, very difficult. You know, he's got his own niche, but generally as a rule, the biggest market when it comes to buying magic tricks are beginners and amateurs. So you want something that's very, very simple, or you at least want a simple handling in place that you can do very simply. It's why when I eventually got around to filming this and it became the project that you saw in the trailer, I streamlined the handling right down. It went from like multi-phase routines with 2 lots of breaks and triple lifts and quadruple lifts and holding out that. It all went from there to 3 phases and a Mexican turnover. Monty move, sorry. That's literally what it went to, the main routine. And that's the important thing as well. If you're putting a trick out and there's multiple routines, what you want to do is you want to think about what the main routine is. And when you think about that main routine, you want to think about what it would look like. You want to think about the structure behind it. You want to think about how difficult it is. You want to make it accessible to everybody. Penguin told me the first time I filmed with them all these years ago, they actually said, when you do the tutorial, imagine that you're doing a tutorial for somebody who's never bought a magic trick before, and this is the first trick that they're going to buy. You want to make it accessible so that they can do it and they want to buy more magic, and that's understandable. That's simple business 101. So this was the video I sent to just give them an idea of what the project would be. But obviously, it then changed over time and became a lot more streamlined. It became a lot more commercial. And yes, there was a version of this handling on there. But honestly, I don't perform the handling that I go through in this pitch video. So you don't just necessarily need to have the handling that you send over to the company. It doesn't necessarily need to be the final handling, and you're never going to go beyond that. That's not the case at all. But you do need to show what the trick is, what it does. And as you can see in this video, it's very simple. I've drawn circles on backs of blank backed cards. That's all I needed to do to kind of show Penguin exactly what this was. And then off the back of that, they understood and they were able to then move forward. The other thing that I want you to note here, because this is very different to the second project I'm going to be looking at in a minute, I didn't have a prototype at all. I didn't have a prototype. I basically said, this is what the card would look like. You guys are going to need to design it. I didn't design the card. Now, it's a very simple design. Let's be honest. You don't need Phil Smith to put a button on the back of a card and the words Magic Button. Anybody could do that. It's not the hardest thing in the world. But but I didn't have a prototype. In the second video you're going to see in a minute, I did have a prototype. But I didn't have a prototype in this one. So let's have a look at the pitch video for the Magic Button project, and then we're going to move on to the second trick that we're going to be talking about on this video. Okay, hey guys, let me go through what this is. So it's a way of doing a finale to any card routine without doing an impossible location or anything. And the concept really simply is that you would give them a load of these Magic Button cards. Now you could give them a deck or a percentage of them. Definitely want to buy refills. They're normal on the face, but on the back it's got Magic Button and it's got a big red invited Magic Button. This is a terrible crude prototype, but you get the idea. And then they'd have 1 or 2 actual Magic Button cards, which are blank on one side, and on the other side it would say Magic Button with a big red button in the middle. So that's the card that they'd have. They'd have a couple of those. They'd have as many of these as you want to give them, and really a couple of double back cards. That's all they need. They'd supply their own deck. And this can be a finale to any routine. I've come up with about 7 or 8 routines with this. Triumph sandwich routines. Basically, anywhere where you want a really cool finale and a really nice thread running through, you can use this. Let me show you the ambitious card very quickly. So the setup for this would be you take one of the cards that's got a face, put it in between the 2 double backers. That would go on top of the deck and you're good to go. Now, you can actually do this from a shuffle deck of cards in use. You just take your actual Magic Button card, put that on top, wrap an elastic band around everything. That would be in your pocket. You then have these shuffled, do whatever you want to do with a regular deck. When you want to go into this routine, you take your Magic Button card out, put it on the deck, take the elastic band off, and give it them. And you explain that this is how all magicians do their magic. Now, the nice thing about the routine of this particular routine is they're going to be holding this the whole time. They're always going to be able to check the other side, so it's going to come as a real surprise. But you've loaded the setup on top. So now do a riffle force. So you're just going to riffle force and turn the double over. Because of the double backer, you've got a lot of singularity there, so they sign that card. So they sign that card, and you'll notice during the course of this, there's a lot of moments where they see a back of that 4. So the first phase, the way that I've been playing around with this, the first phase is just to drop that card onto the table, but do a wrist kill, because that's the Magic Button card. Put this on top in a tilt position, which means that you can now apparently put the card down in the middle, get them to press the button, hand them that card back, and then you can do a double turnover to show that the 4's back to the top of the deck. And, you know, because of the double backer, you can take that card off. Now, that's great, but you're doing a tilt move, so it's great as a first phase, but the second phase is going to be a lot cleaner. So you do a triple turnover this time, which remember there's 2 double backers, and you're going to openly put this card, which they think is their card, but it's a double backer, into the middle and catch a break above it. Okay, so now you get them to put the card back on top of the deck, you get them to press the button, they take it off, and again you can do a double turnover and show that the 4's back on top of the deck, which you can deal off. Now all you have to do is a slip cut and a double undercut as you're talking, and you've brought the 2 double backers back to the top of the deck. So that would be the second phase. The third phase, the way I've been playing around with it, is to say to them, you know, if you don't want people to know that you're using a Magic Button, you can put it in the middle of the deck where people can't see it. So now you do a triple turnover and you put apparently the card and the Magic Button down into the middle of the deck. You very cleanly square everything up, and then you just press and you say, even though it's in the middle, you activate the Magic Button, it'll come to the top of the deck, and you do the double turnover again. But to clean up that, you just say, obviously, when you're finished, you need to bring your Magic Button back to the top. You get a break under 2 and you just bring both cards up to the top. So you've brought both of your double backers back on top of the deck, and you give them this card, and again, they can check it out. Now, the way I've been playing around with this is to do the second phase one more time at this point and say, so now you know how it works, let's go really slowly. I'm genuinely going to put that card down in the middle of the deck. No ambiguity, you can see it's in there. But when you press the Magic Button card, that card comes to the top of the deck. So again, it's a really clean display. And they're seeing backs of this card the whole time. And again, you do your slip cut and your double undercut. For the final phase, you're going to do a triple turnover again. And you're going to put it down in the middle of the deck, but leave it there this time. Okay? And so what you're going to do is get a break under 2, which is the double backer in their card. And you're going to say, let's try this one more time, press the button. They press the button, you pick up a triple, and you flip over that card and you say, no, it's not worked yet. Let's try again and show the back of this card. Press the button. No, it's still not worked yet. You need to press a lot harder, press it one more time. You're showing the back of this card every time. And so when they press the button the third time, what you're going to do is you're going to say, no, you pressed too hard. You know what happens when you press too hard, don't you? And now you're just going to do a triple turnover. And you say, look, the card gets stuck to the back of the Magic Button. And that triple turnover burns that card, gets rid of that card, and leaves that completely examinable. And it's like the selected card is attached to the Magic Button card that they've been holding on to the whole time. And the nice thing is, from a reset point of view, an examinability point of view, you've got a double back card in the middle of the deck. So all you have to do is say to them, oh, I'm going to take out the jokers before I do the next routine. Take out a joker, and I don't think I've got any jokers in here. There's a joker over there. Take out the joker and take out the double backer. Flash the jokers, put it on top of the deck. Now all you have to do is lift up all of these cards here, put them in your pocket, and you're left with a regular deck of cards. There's about 7 or 8 ways that you could use this in conjunction with various different routines. So another completely different way of using it that is pretty cool, and that doesn't even use that that button, is to just have the card, just have a magic button card second from the top. Okay, so this is how I've been playing around with it with Triumph. So you start off by doing a double turn, doing a riffle force, and then you do a double turnover. So you show that you've got this 4. You get them to sign the 4, and you do this old move by Matthew Dowden. So it's kind of like an Erdnase change, but you steal the card off. So what you're going to do is you're going to push that card forward, palm the actual card, but leave it sticking out the pack. So it looks like that 4 is left sticking out the pack. And you say, by the way, I'm going to need a magic button for this trick to work. You go in your pocket with the palmed card, and you bring out this magic button card. So it looks like you've just took that out of the pocket to still see the 4s there. You could now have them shuffle the deck themselves. And then once they've shuffled the deck, all you have to do is do a half pass and go into an optical reverse. So you can do a really nice sort of Triumph style routine. And you say, look, all the cards are mixed up. They're face up into face down. Do a Bowery reversal to sort everything out. And you say, look, if you press the magic button card, it'll sort all the cards out. So they press the magic button card, it sorts all the cards out. And you say, I tell you what, if you press it again, your card will be the only one face up, and then press it again. And you go, oh, no, it didn't work, press it harder. Oh, you pressed it too hard. If you press it that hard, you know what's going to happen, don't you? It's going to stick to the magic button card. So that's another way you can do it. You can also do that as a mystery card type thing. I've played around with doing it with an anniversary waltz type presentation. So you openly take the magic button card out. You take the 4 and they hold them in their hands next to each other, and they fuse together. I've got sandwich routines with it. The only other thing to mention is, if you wanted to, either as part of the set or as an expansion set, you could give them a couple of extra printed cards. So for example, you could give them a magic button card that's blank on the back, but instead of magic button, it's got like 6 of clubs or something. So, you know, but it looked like the same font, so they press it and the words change. You could have the button green or, you know, red, but you could also supply them with a green button, so when they press it, it changes color. You could have them a broken button, so when they press the button, it looks like it's broken and that does something. So, you know, they could use these together into packet tricks as well as bonus routines. But the main concept of it is as a finale to any card routine, rather than having it go to the top of the deck 20 times and that's it. Or rather than having a card to wallet that everyone does, you know, you're doing this ambitious card routine, but what's actually happening is at the end, the card that they've been using to make the magic happen, that they've been holding on to the whole time, actually ends up being their signed card. And the magic button thing makes it kind of really, kind of a commercial, interesting prop that people want to hold, and then a really cool magical finale. So there you go. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the second video that I want to talk about is the Mindblox deck. Now, this came out in sort of March this year. So it came out and again, this was filmed at the same time as the Magic Button project. So this was filmed sort of last year, early last year. Sorry, early last year. So this would have been pitched. I feel like this was pitched, I don't know, a little bit before. I don't know. I'd already got all the artwork in place for this because I attached the files. And it took about 6 months to a year to get the artwork done because I paid Phil Smith to design all of the artwork and everything. So I would say this was in the cards from maybe 2020, early 2022, something like that. But Mindblox, if you don't know what it is, it's my Lego deck. It's a deck of cards that's a marked deck of cards that Phil Smith designed for me that looks like it's got Lego sets on it. So it's a bunch of cards with Lego sets on, and the marks on the back of the cards allow you to see what the Lego set is they're thinking of, the difficulty rating, the amount of bricks. The mother of all book tests is built into the description on each card. It's a Svengali deck as well, so you can use it as a forcing system. There's a bunch of different stuff that's built into this. And I had the idea for this shortly before Ryland went on America's Got Talent. I'm pretty sure the timings are a little bit hazy. But I had the idea for this. I'm fairly sure this came before Evoke. I'm pretty sure this came before Evoke, but I might be wrong. They both came at around about the same time. I'd have to check with Phil. But anyway, when I sent the pitch video off, I had everything in place. So Phil had delivered the final files to me. I didn't have a prototype deck. I was waiting for my prototype deck when I filmed this. Typically, as a rule, when I produce a deck of cards, I will generally work with Phil Smith on the deck of cards like this, and then I'll order prototypes and made playing cards so I can work the routines in. And I can come up with ideas and routines specifically around that deck of cards. And I typically do that before I actually go to a production company about that deck. Now, I didn't do that in this case. In this case, I filmed this video before I had the prototype deck. I'm pretty sure of it. If you've not seen the Mindblox trailer, let's have a look at that first of all, and then we'll talk about what happened in this pitch video.
Tell you about something me and my dad always do. We have brick building competitions. I always win because I cheat and use magic. Let me show you how. Heidi, here are some cards of my favourite Lego sets on them. As you can see, they're all different.
Yeah.
Could
All
you please
different.
Yeah. Could you please touch one? Anyone. Just touch. You sure?
Yep.
Don't let me see, but you can show everybody else. Thanks, Heidi. For the first time, Heidi, could you please name the set that you just picked?
A helicopter.
A helicopter. That's one of my favourites. Everyone shout helicopter as loud as they can on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Helicopter.
A helicopter. Now that's amazing.
I don't know what to say. My name's Craig Petty, and you're about to find out about the best marked deck you've ever seen.
I knew you'd be skeptical. It's why I put a picture of an ambulance on the other side.
That's wild. That's wild.
You're thinking of a railway station.
So the question is, what is Mindblox? Well, Mindblox is a custom designed and printed deck of cards themed around that popular toy building block. Each card has on it a different set, and it's got information about that set. It's got the amount of bricks, the difficulty rating. There's even a paragraph of text that tells you all about the set. Inside each card and inside the deck, there are incredible features and secrets that allow you to basically make it look like you can read minds.
I want you to look at the Lego set and then read the paragraph and pick a long word off that paragraph. You got it? You got one? Put it in. Is that fair? I'm going to give you a choice. What would you like me to get first? The Lego set or the word? The cinema screen is in front of you. Think of a letter in the middle of the word. You're interesting. You went back and forth, didn't you, between a couple of letters? You went back and forth between like an O and an R. Think of the letter at the end. Think of the letter at the end. If I told you the word you're thinking of, would that be good? You can see it, can't you? It's right there. Colourful.
And everything is marked on the back of the cards. So the second a spectator takes a card, you immediately, and I mean immediately, know everything about that card at one glance. You'll know the set that they've taken, you know the word that they're going to think of, you're going to know how many bricks the set's made up of, you're going to know the difficulty rating, you're going to know everything. But on top of that, there's multiple forcing systems built into this deck as well. You're going to be able to force numbers. This innovative forcing system is there when you need it, and when you don't need it, it's locked away. I'm so proud to be working with Phil Smith and Penguin Magic to bring to you the ultimate tool for magicians and mentalists, the ultimate mark deck, the ultimate forcing system. This is Mindblox.
So that's Mindblox. I love Mindblox. I really do. A lot of people have actually said that it's one of their favorite tricks that I've ever produced. My friend Nemid Phoenix, who anybody who watches this channel knows that I think is the greatest close-up magician in the world today, he tells me that Mindblox is probably the trick that he performs the most out of everything that I've ever done, including Evoke, and he loves Evoke. So that means the world to me because Nemid is amazing. Mindblox has been very well received, and I think one of the reasons is because it's a fun premise. You know, everybody understands Lego. It transcends age. Kids love it. Adults are aware of it. Even if they're not competitive Lego builders, they're aware of what Lego is. A lot of adults will have kids that have got Lego, and you know, a Lego set is iconic, and the marking system on these is so phenomenal. Now, the pitch here went very, very differently because I didn't want someone to design this deck. I didn't want to do the same thing that I did with Magic Button. Because with Magic Button, the concept was, hey, you've got these cards with buttons on the back. It's going to end up being the signed card. They can design that themselves based on that concept. But this, I had very specific, clear ideas in mind about how I wanted this deck designed. And I didn't want somebody else to design it. I wanted to be in control of the design 100%, which is why I worked with Phil and I paid Phil to design this before I did anything with it. I then had the files, I had everything. And as I said, while Phil was waiting for the prototypes to come in and therefore go to me, I decided to pitch this to Penguin. Now, why did I pitch it to Penguin? One, I love working with Penguin. Two, for me, this is the perfect Penguin trick. Penguin are fun. Penguin are, you know, they bring out a lot of really fun, enjoyable stuff. They've brought stuff out before around kids stuff like Predictions by Roddy McGee. And this felt like it fitted into that sort of genre, if that kind of made sense. It just felt like a Penguin trick. So I was able to go to Penguin, and you'll hear me say at the beginning of the pitch video, I have attached files. The reason is, I think the thing that sold this to any company is the fact that they don't have to do anything. From their point of view, I am coming to them and I'm saying, here you go. This is the finished product. This is everything that you need. You don't need to do any design work. I've got all of the designs done. I've got prototypes on its way. And these are all formatted and ready to be printed with whichever playing card company you choose to print them with. From a production point of view, it's so easy for a company to just go, right, okay, let's take those files, let's hit print. It's very, very easy. So I attach the files because I think that Phil's designs and Phil's marking system is what really makes this deck. Now, you hear me talking about ideas and routines, but again, just like with Magic Button, I didn't go through, if you've seen Mindblox, there's probably about, what, 15, 20 tricks on the tutorial. I've put videos on Magic TV since then with another 5 or 6 tricks. There's a lot of stuff that I've actually gone through with Mindblox. There's a lot you can do with it, but in the pitch, I don't want to overwhelm people. I don't want to overload people. So you see in the pitch, it's around about 10 minutes again, and I talk about how this deck is something I'm really excited about, and this is how you can do the main routine, and this is how you can do this, and this is how you can do this. I think I can't remember. I haven't watched the pitch for a long time, but I talked about the marking system and how easy it is to read the marking system. Because honestly, I think with Mindblox, one of the most innovative parts of it is the fact that the marking system, whilst being completely iconic to the deck itself, is also incredibly easy to read from across the room. It's incredibly easy to read from right in front of you. It tells you everything that you need immediately. It's great. So obviously I wanted to make a big deal of that, which is why I included the files on the project. This is a very different approach to, like I said, Magic Button. With Magic Button, it's like, here's a concept. You guys are going to have to develop it for me. With Mindblox, it's like, here's a prototype. It's completely finished. We're ready to go on this one. And you need to make a decision when you're pitching a product to a company, what you need to do. Now, sometimes it's not a good idea to do what I did with Magic Button and just say, hey, you're going to have to design this for me. You're going to have to do the work. I could kind of get away with that because it's Penguin and I've worked with them an awful lot, and I knew that this would be an easy thing for them to design. I knew if I went to them with a Lego deck and I was like, this is the concept, now we're going to have to workshop designs and marking systems, it would probably be a no, because there's nothing for them to see. I'm basically just saying, create a marked deck. But when you see that marked deck and you see everything it does and you see all the features and all of the benefits that have been built into it by myself and Phil, immediately you then go, okay, that makes sense. I can understand exactly what this is. And so, like I say, when you're pitching a product to a company, you need to decide what level the prototyping is need to be at. Are you going to tell them about a concept, or are you going to tell them about an actual physical thing that you can show them? Ultimately, that choice is up to you. This is for Penguin's Eyes only, guys. I don't know who's watching this, but hello, and I wanted to talk to you about the Lego deck. Just very, very quickly. So you're going to see some files attached to this. This is something I've been working on for about a year. I've paid a fortune to Phil Smith to design it to my exact specifications. We're at a point now where it's done. So I'm getting a prototype deck winging its way over to me, which is very, very exciting. And the files are all done. Like, everything is done. Phil has done everything. It's all ready to go. And I think it's the thing I'm most excited about. The thing I think it's probably the best thing I've ever created. So what it is it does a whole bunch of stuff, and I went to have a look at the files, and I'll just quickly talk you through the features. So it's designed to look like a deck of cards that you get in a Lego shop or a toy shop. It's actually based off a real Lego deck. Now, obviously, you don't have to call it Lego. There's no Lego branding on there. We've been very careful about that, and we've made the design look completely different. But the whole idea is, it looks like the sort of thing that you would get in a toy shop or a deck or a Lego shop or something like that. And it's got lots of different Lego sets. Okay, so it's got lots of different Lego sets. Now, the whole concept behind it is there's 52 cards in this deck plus 4 bonus cards. I'll talk about the bonus cards in a minute, but there's 52 cards in this deck. Now, 26 of the cards are force cards, right? So this could operate a little bit like a Svengali deck, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So 26 of the cards are force cards. If you look at the files, you'll see that 26 of the cards are different Lego sets, and 26 of the cards are force cards. Now, the force cards are all the same. They're all the ambulance. So there's 26 ambulances, and there's then 26 other cards. Now, if you look at the 26 other cards, they work a little bit like Omnitool or ABC or something like that, where you've got 26 cards, and they're in alphabetical order from A through to Z. So A is the ambulance, B is beach hut, so on and so forth. So because they're in a cyclical stack, what you can do is you can literally just cut the deck, and you look at what the bottom card is, and you instantly know what the top card is. I built that stack into it, but you don't actually have to have those 26 cards stacked. They can be shuffled, and the reason is they're marked. And me and Phil spent a long time working on the marking system for this, and Phil has worked on a marking system that's based on negative space. So if you look at the back design of the cards, if you hold it vertically, you can't see anything. There's nothing to see. But when you understand what the markings are, you can see them from the other side of the room. If somebody holds it, you instantly know what the card is. And they're marked in several different ways. So if you look at the back designs of the cards, you'll see there's kind of various, if you hold it horizontally, you'll see there's various rows. There's 3 rows, then a brick in the middle, and then you kind of turn it over and there's 3 rows and a brick in the middle. You can hold it in either orientation and you get the same marking. So the first mark is on the top line, and it uses negative space, and that cues you what the actual card is. So on the ambulance, you'll see it says ambulance along the top. Now, it's almost impossible to see, but when you know what you're looking for, you can see it immediately. It's like that old illusion that did the rounds on Facebook a couple of years ago, where there's a brick wall with a cigar and you can't see the cigar until it's pointed out, and then you can't unsee it. It's a similar thing. Once you know that that card says ambulance and the next card says beach hut, you can see them immediately. So now these 26 cards don't have to be in any sort of stack. I made them them alphabetical, so they could be in stack, but you could just shuffle them up and get somebody to shuffle them, take one out, put it on the table or hold it up and look at it, and you're instantly going to know exactly what the card is, because that top line, regardless of orientation, will tell you what the card is. Now, the second line down cues you the word that they're going to think of, because I built the mother of all book test principle into these cards. So if you look at the faces of the cards, you'll see that each card has a little quote at the bottom. Now, this is actually written by me specifically for each card. And these quotes are based on the sort of language that are used for cards like this in brick design and Lego and so on and so forth. And it's basically just a little quote about what is particularly on the card. Now, it took a long time to write them because they've been written in a way where there's only one long word and all the other words are 3 or 4 or 5 letters. So if you have somebody pick a card and you tell them to look at the card, you instantly know what the card is, but then if you tell them to look at the quote and you tell them to read through the quote and pick a big long word like more than 4 or 5 letters and remember it, you're going to know what that word is because it's cued on the second line down. So that second line down is going to cue you that long word. There's 10 long words repeated over the 26 cards, and the box design actually is a crib of those 10 words as well. So if you want to have the crib there in front of you, you can, absolutely 100%, totally not a problem. So the second line down, so you could in essence have somebody take a card, have them look at the card, you could instantly tell them what the thing is they're thinking about, and you could also have them look at the quote, pick a word off that quote, shuffle the cards up together, and you could tell them what the word is. Super cool. Now, the other thing that's built into this is on the third line down, it cues you some numbers. The numbers that it cues you is the difficulty rating and the amount of bricks in the set. If you look at the faces of the cards, you'll see that each face has the amount of bricks and it also has a difficulty rating. That's what the third line cues you. It cues you the amount of bricks and the difficulty rating. So if you want to, you can have them look at it and you can say, have a think of the difficulty rating. It's 3, isn't it? It's 3 star. It's not actually that difficult. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the other thing about the amount of bricks is each set has a completely different amount of bricks, but they all add up to a force number. I think it's 17. They all add up to 17. So there's a couple of different routines that use that principle. So you can actually have somebody take a card at random and add up the digits on the total amount of bricks, and you're going to get that force number. Fantastic for something like any card at any number or something like that. And there's lots of different ways that you can actually use that. That was an extra subtlety that we built in. So the cards are marked in that way. So the first line is what the actual thing is. The second line is the long word they're going to think of. And the third line is the difficulty rating and the amount of bricks. And that's orientated either way. So the 26 force cards, my vision with this whole thing is that you can use it in many different ways. So for example, you could have it so that you're just using the 26 cards and you're just doing some mind reading stuff, or you could have it so you've got the whole deck and you have the 26 force cards on top. So at the beginning, you take the 26 cards off and you have them pick, you get them to cut the deck and you have them take one card from the force cards, and obviously it's going to be a force, and then you have that put back in the deck and you put the cards in the box. You then do something else with the other cards, and then at the end you can tell them what the force card is, because obviously it was a force. It was a very free way of doing that. The other thing is, and the way I envisage this deck being sold, is that the force cards would be short cards, because then if people wanted to, they could effectively put this deck together and they could make themselves a Svengali deck, but out of Lego. A Lego Svengali deck. Now, what's nice is they don't have to use this as a Svengali deck. They can just use it as a 26 card thing or a 52 card thing. There's so many different options, but if they use it as a Svengali deck, there's tons of routines that they can actually do with this deck of cards. I've got tons of original routines with the Svengali deck that would be applied perfectly to this. Now, the other reason I wanted it as a Svengali deck is because of the original intention for this deck, which is to do the baby gag without actually referencing babies. Because the problem with the baby gag, it's a classic of Magic. Hey, think of a celebrity. Hey, if I got your celebrity, would that be good? Hey, it's a baby. And look, what happened if you thought of Will Smith? I had it covered. A lot of people don't use it anymore because it's mildly racist. And also, the problem is, it doesn't appeal to a family audience. Kids won't know who, for example, Tom Cruise is or whatever. So the original intention for this deck, and if you look at the 4 bonus cards that comes with it, because you can get 56 cards, the 4 bonus cards, 2 of them are designed to do a baby gag. So on one side, it's just a big stack of bricks, and on the other side, one's an ambulance, and then I think one's a beach hut. We gave them a different option if they want to vary it on table to table. But the whole idea is, imagine having an envelope with a card in it, and you put that down, and you've got the deck set up as a Svengali deck, and you have them say stop anytime they want to, and you show them the card, and obviously it's going to be an ambulance, and you say, hey, if I told you that I had your Lego set over there, would that be good? And they say yeah, and you go, look, here you go, and you take it out, so they're just seeing the bricks, and you go, well, if you put all those bricks together, it'll be the Lego set that you're thinking of. You don't look very impressed. What was your Lego set? An ambulance. I had you covered. Look on the other side. And they can get 2 of those cards. I was speaking to Phil, and it would be nice to maybe give them a PDF as well, or a JPEG of the image, so they can print it out and use it on stage, or kid show performers could use it in a kid show, and they could print a bigger version out, so they could have like a really big reveal with Lego on one side, and on the other side have the ambulance, because that would be an amazing way to use it. Because it's set up as a Svengali deck, you could literally just show all the cards are different, have them say stop very, very cleanly, and then you've got that reveal, which would be super fun. There's also a double backer in there as well as an extra card, because there's a couple of different things you can do with double backers. And then finally, as well as a double backer, the other thing that's built into this, the other extra card, is the ambulance card, but with the ambulance removed, because I thought it'd be really cool for them to go and buy themselves a little Lego ambulance set, which you can get relatively cheaply from Amazon. And as a little bonus, you could force ambulance, do a double lift, show that you've got ambulance, take it off, and pop the ambulance out the card, and then when you show it, the ambulance is gone and it's actually become real. So I thought that was a really cool card to give them as a bonus card as well. So those are the 4 bonus cards. So that's what's built into it. As I say, 52 cards. You can put them together as a Svengali deck, or you can put them separately. So you could just use it as a 26 card deck if you wanted to do like mind reading. You can put it together as a 52 card deck and have them cut half of the cards off and have them pick a card and, case those and then do something else with these and then go back to it. There's so many different options that you could do, and then the gaff cards just add extra stuff as well, and the marking system is just genius. As I said, the cards are already designed. Phil Smith's designed them. I've built everything in. Everything's ready to go. All the files there, literally. I'm getting my prototype set in the next week, so you could just run with this immediately because everything's there. You just need to send it to print. I'd really like to know your thoughts, because I think this is the best thing I've ever come up with. Have a look, and I will get back to you soon. But thanks very much for listening, guys. I love you all. Speak to you soon.
Okay, so there you go. That's 2 projects that have come out this year that I filmed last year, and you've just seen the pitches, the initial pitches for both of those projects. Ultimately, when you're pitching a product yourself, you want to be very clear, very direct. Don't make the pitch too long. Don't worry about live performances. Don't worry about making a Hollywood blockbuster. Be very, very clear. Be very, very concise. Show the product. Explain what it's going to be. If it does 1,000 things, don't worry about the 1,000 things. Just explain the key few things that this product does, what the features and the benefits are. If you have a name in Magic, you might want to throw that in there then, if you've got a big audience that follow you. I didn't say that because they know who I am. They know the audience that I have that watch and listen to my stuff. I didn't need to point that out. But when you're putting a pitch together, that might be something you want to do, because ultimately, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you need to tell that production company why they should work with you. You need to show that production company that working with you can turn a profit on this product. Because at the end of the day, the production company, they are making a decision based on one thing and one thing only. Will this be profitable? And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to you to show them it'll be profitable. You do that by showing them the prototypes. You do that by telling them what it does, showing them who you are, what your reach is, the type of people that would buy this. There's a bunch of different things that are taken into consideration when it comes to actually pitching a product to a production company. So you've just seen those 2. My question is, has this helped?
Do you have any questions off the back of this? If you have, I would love you to tell me. Please let me know in the comments down below. Also, would you like to see more of these kind of pitch analysis videos where I can talk about other videos I've sent to Penguin or Murphy's or Alakazam or whatever? Because if you want to see those as well, I can show those to you as well. Please let me know. My goal on this channel is to provide the information that you guys want. A lot of people want to know how to pitch a client. They want to know how to pitch, not a client, sorry. They want to know how to pitch a production company. They want to know how to take a trick that they've developed and bring it to market. And this seems like a very logical way to show you how that would happen. So if you want to see more videos like this, let me know down below. If you have any questions, let me know down below. And once again, thank you once again for watching this. You want to see more videos, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to join the Netrix, which is my online streaming platform for magicians, please do so by going to www.thenetrix.com. That's www.thenetrix.com. Go check it out and see what all the fuss is about. I will be back again soon. Thanks for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.